the Emmy Award-winning KFOX 14 News at 9.
And I turned around and I called the matron. And that's when I saw him in the floor full of blood.
2 El Paso men are dead tonight after being struck by a drunk driver while waiting on the side of the road for a tow truck. Good evening. I'm Megan Lopez, first on Fox tonight. The accident happened on Loop 375 near the Spur 601 exit. The car the men were riding in hit a guardrail and then pulled to the side of the road. While they were waiting for a tow truck driver to arrive, a drunk driver slammed into them, killing both. KFOX 14 News at 9's Stacey Welsh spoke with an eyewitness who describes the tragedy. She's live in Northeast El Paso. Stacey, tell me what they were saying.
I'm here at the intersection of Loop 375 in Montana, and this crash actually happened more than a mile up Loop 375 headed toward Northeast El Paso. But because it's dark outside and there is steady traffic on the highway right now, this is the closest we'll be safe reporting live in this area. And I spoke with one woman who says her boyfriend and his brother died in this crash, and she says she was there when it happened.
From 5 minutes, he was talking to me, hugging me, and then 5 minutes later, I was saying my goodbyes to him.
Karina Guevara was Adrian Ramirez's girlfriend. She tells me Ramirez and his brother, Jesse Gutierrez, both died after an alleged drunk driver hit them on Loop 375. She sent me this picture of the two and says they loved each other and their families very much.
And I turned around and I called the matron. And that's when I saw him in the floor full of blood.
Guevara says the driver of the car they were in had already crashed into the guardrail here on Loop 375. You can see the metal part breaking away from the rail. And just a few feet away, you can see debris from their car, their red Buick, on the other side of the guardrail. And she tells me that her boyfriend and his brother were standing on this side of the guardrail. As you can see, there's not much to the shoulder of the road when she says the drunk driver came by and hit and killed them. Guevara says the driver of their car, Lulu Cida, was dating Gutierrez, and the group was coming back from a local club. She says Cida turned around to argue with Gutierrez and hit the guardrail when she took her eyes off the road. Police say the group flagged down a tow truck to help. As they were waiting for the tow truck to take their damaged car away, police say Gutierrez and Ramirez were arguing in the road when another man who was reportedly driving drunk hit them. But Guevara says the two men were not fighting.
Lulu started acting dumb, wanting her to throw herself at the traffic. My boyfriend got her, and she ran. She sat down in front of the tow truck.
Guevara says the two men were trying to get to Lulu Cida when the other car hit them.
I tried to give him CPR. He spit out his blood. He was conscious when the ambulance took him. Jesse was dead at the scene.
Police say Ramirez later died at a local hospital and confirmed Gutierrez died at the scene. Police took the driver of the car that hit the men into custody. Guevara says this isn't the family's first loss. Gutierrez and Ramirez's older brother died of cancer about a year ago. Now the family is looking for help with funeral expenses.
I mean, we're trying to do our best. You know, it's hard for us. They were good people.
Guevara also says Ramirez leaves behind 4 young children, and police have not released the name of the man who was reportedly driving drunk in this incident because police say they're waiting for the district attorney's office to file charges. Reporting live in East El Paso, Stacey Welsh, KFOX 14 News at 9.
Just a tragic story all around. Sheriffs arrest a woman who was found drunk and passed out in the desert, meanwhile, with her child inside the car. Doña County sheriffs say that they found Rocky Howard in a remote desert area of northeast just of Las Cruces before 2 p.m. on Thursday. 2 teenagers out riding ATVs spotted Howard passed out outside of her car and then called 911. She was intoxicated and fought with deputies when they tried to wake her up. She told investigators she had been drinking. An infant girl was found sleeping inside of Howard's car in a soaked diaper that had seeped through her clothing. Howard was arrested and charged with child abuse and resisting arrest. She was being held at the Doña Ana County Jail on a $2,000 bond, which she has posted. Nearly 2 years after they went missing, family and friends are finally able to lay to rest two brothers in San Alisario this morning. Griselda Reina says that her son's bodies were found in a mass grave in Ciudad Juarez in 2014, but she wasn't told about their bodies being discovered until this month. Rogelio and Sergio Ituarte both used to attend San Alisario High School. The school district helped the family arrange services for the boys. Griselda has been living in the U.S. with political asylum since her husband was murdered in Juarez back in 2010. She was recently informed that her asylum is up and she could be deported back to the place where both her husband and both of her sons were murdered. Wage theft was a hot topic at today's National Border Law Conference. The El Paso del Norte Civil Rights Project attended the conference. They say more victims of wage theft have been coming forward as of late. The group's legal director says there is a need for a comprehensive system that tracks companies guilty of this wage theft. They also want to inform the community of the scams that are happening in the city. Now, the city itself wants to pass an ordinance modeled after a current Houston ordinance that allows the city to withhold city permits and licenses from a business that was convicted of stealing workers' wages. But the El Paso del Norte Civil Rights Project says there is still loopholes for convicted employers.
Just because the city passes a wage theft ordinance that says we're not going to do business with company A that we know doesn't pay its workers, it doesn't mean that employer can't get a job somewhere else. And
other issues that were discussed at today's conference included international child custody, border crimes, and money laundering on the border. It's the biggest football game of the year and a time millions huddle around their television sets to watch, even if their team isn't playing. But one thing that you shouldn't forget to do is find a designated driver for this weekend's big game. The Texas Department of Transportation wants to remind football fans to drive sober or not to drive at all. Last year, there were more than 120 alcohol-related traffic accidents in the state of Texas on that day. 8 of them ended in deaths and 12 ended with serious injuries. This year, TxDOT does not want to see the same mistakes happen again. So, TxDOT started the Sober Ride Pledge. Those who take the pledge and sign up online could win a trip to the big game in 2016. ISIS releases a video claiming to have beheaded Japanese journalist Kenji Goto. The terrorist group has released a video showing the executioner known as Jihadi John lecturing the Japanese people. He said, quote, "Let the nightmare for Japan begin." The video then reportedly shows Goto's decapitated body. The U.S. and Japan are working to confirm the authenticity of the video, but they say that it seems to be consistent with familiar videos in similar situations that have happened in the past. The rain has ended, and finally, we couldn't have had it happen soon enough, right? It was awful this morning, but Joshua Zuber joins me now, telling us more about what we can expect for the rest of this weekend.
We can expect a much drier weekend, tonight into Sunday, perhaps some spotty showers overnight. But Megan, of course, here for us in the borderland, we like to see some of the rain across the area. We much desperately need it across the area, and it was gentle rain, beneficial rain. It wasn't like monsoon season where it was flash flooding here. 1/10 of an inch, a little bit more, complete emergency care. Rudolph Cars in West El Paso. Also here at the KFOX 14 studios. Same thing at the ballpark downtown here yesterday. Totals were a little higher, about 3/10 of an inch. And again, right now we're experiencing dry conditions all across the borderland. Some spotty rain showers still out there as that system continues here to push off to the east. I'll let you know just how much warmer we're going to be after Sunday, after we get more sunshine here in the borderland. That's just ahead.
All right, thanks, Josh. Helping residents sign up for health care services, the group that's here to help in the borderland, and when you can attend one of their free events. They're going head-to-head in the biggest football game of the year, but many of these players started their careers off right here in the Sun City. We'll tell you how the Sun Bowl has become today's showcase for tomorrow's talents. That's coming up next on KFOX 14 News at 9. Coverage you can count on.